Hi, my name's Tomas O'Brien, and I'm the director of the 2015 Digital Writers Festival. Um, for this event, we thought we'd just run through a bit of what makes this year's festival different to last year's, a bit of what you can expect and different ways in which you can engage with the Digital Writers Festival in 2015. So this is the second year that we've been running the Digital Writers Festival, and one of the things that we wanted to do this time around was expand the idea of what we can do with the format that we decided on, which is video chats running through Google Hangouts. The amazing thing last year with the Digital Writers Festival was the sense in which you felt as though you were having face-to-face communication with these writers across the internet, even though, of course, you were actually sitting at your desk and participating in these kind of conversations with writers from all around the world. And we've been kind of learning from this, and we've been trying to figure out different ways to do this. So this year for the Digital Writers Festival, one of the core components of these new events that we've been looking at are events in which audience members themselves can participate in these video conversations. So we've set up a stream of events called the Writers Night School events, and I thought I might just run through a few of those. These events are events in which 8 audience members participate with one writer, spending an hour or an hour and a half a week for 2 weeks during the festival, learning new skills and working on projects with these writers. And again, they can participate from all around the world. So we've got these panels on sex writing. We've got a panel with the Stellar Prize on reviewing. We've got a Writers Night School event encouraging people to work on scripts for YouTube videos. So these are kind of events that are innovative in the sense that audience members will be able to participate face-to-face with writers no matter where they're located in the world, moving beyond Twitter and this kind of text-based communication. Another stream of events that we're really, really excited about, and if you're on the Digital Writers Festival website right now, you can kind of have a bit of a play around. It's called Digital Dinner Parties. And the idea with this event is we bring 3 food writers together and we encourage them to pick out a dish that means something to them. And over an hour and a half, on Friday, February 20, these 3 writers will be cooking these dishes in real time with a webcam set up in their own kitchens. And audience members will be able to encourage to cook along with these writers. The recipes will be shared in the week before the event, and audience members will be able to buy the ingredients, set up a webcam inside their own kitchen, and cook along. Then they'll be able to share what they're cooking through Twitter and Instagram using the hashtag DWF15. So this is, again, a really exciting way in which to kind of expand the idea of events that are really participatory, that go beyond sort of the general mode of communication that we're used to online, which is tweets, Facebook posts, and generally text-based communication. Last year we ran a really fantastic stream, an event involving the UNESCO Cities of Literature. Last year the event involved bringing representatives from each of these cities together to have a conversation about issues facing these cities of literature and figuring out what these different cities were doing and how they can share ideas. This year we've decided to go one step further. With the 20-minute cities events, we'll be looking at ways in which emerging writers from the different cities of literature will be able to take DWF audience members around the world and actually show them what makes those cities so exciting. So throughout the festival, we'll be running several of these different cities of literature events. We'll be running them across different continents. We'll be running some in Australia, we'll be running some in Europe, we'll be running some in the United States. Emerging writers from the cities of Edinburgh, Melbourne, Iowa City, Dublin, Reykjavik, Norwich, and Krakow will bring their phones, and for 20 minutes they'll walk around each city and they'll be showing audience members what makes their city so exciting. They'll be talking to different writers, poets, they'll be taking you to libraries and cafes and bookshops and immersing you in these different cities of literature. They'll also be engaging via Twitter so that audience members will be able to direct these different writers around the cities, asking them questions about particular hotspots, asking them if they can take a little detour and show them a spot that they've heard about. So again, this is a really, really exciting way of bridging the idea between IRL events and digital events and playing around with this idea of different spaces, bringing a sense of physicality to the digital space. We'll also be running a series of performance events, which are going to be really exciting. In partnership with Kill Your Darlings, we're going to be running an event called High vs. Low Culture, the Rematch, which is essentially an event in which we pitch two different writers on a bunch of different topics, from video games to TV shows to music, asking one to defend an example of high culture in that medium and another one to defend low culture. So via Twitter, again, we'll be asking audience members to vote for who they think puts up the most compelling argument, answering once and for all whether high culture or low culture wins out. Another really exciting event that's sure to tickle your funny bone is called LiveJournal/LiveJournal. The idea behind this event is we're bringing together 4 very, very funny writers, and we're asking them to dredge up their earliest YouTube or MySpace or LiveJournal entries and share them with the world. The twist is that half of the writers will be completely making up these entries, while the other half will be telling entirely true, sharing entirely true diary entries. And again, on Twitter, you'll be encouraged to pick out which entries you think are real and which ones you think are fake. I'd encourage you to have a look through the program. We've got a huge number of different events we're running this year across a variety of different streams. We're running events that are quite straightforward panel events. We're running events that allow you to get into the nitty-gritty of different political issues that we're facing right now, looking at ideas of free speech, looking at ideas of anonymity online, what constitutes oversharing, different issues in terms of digital publishing. We'll also be looking at ideas of accessibility. We'll be working with ABC Open to share stories from all around Australia. We'll also be running some really, really interesting, more performative, experimental game-like events, including one on Saturday, February 14th, called the Three-Legged Race Around the World. I'll just have a quick look and see if anything's coming up on the DWF15 hashtag. So we've got one from Michelle Coleman saying, "I'm not a techie. Writing 2 lines of HTML has me air punching. Thanks DWF15 for the upcoming Coding for Writers webinar." So that's a really exciting event that we're also running. We're running 2 events that are designed to bridge the skill gap between writers and developers. One is an event in combination with Possible, called Writers New Age Toolkit, Community, Crowdfunding and Commercialization, which will be on Tuesday, February 17th. Then we're also running an event with General Assembly, which is a fantastic online workshop delivery company, which is essentially a taster of what to expect from the General Assembly workshops, which is an entirely free event called Why Writers Should Learn to Code and How to Get Started. We'll also be running competitions. We'll be running an event in partnership with Freshly Squeezed, which encourages writers to share the first chapter of their young adult manuscript, which will then go to a panel of teenage readers and editors. We'll be running an event in combination with Scum magazine, which will encourage writers to share entirely anonymously short memoirs that will then be shared and dissected by the editors of Scum. And we'll also be running a series of events which will encourage those who are experimenting in the digital space to get up and share what they've been working on. And these are called the show and tell events. In each event, we're going to encourage up to 8 different writers to quickly run through the latest project that they're working on in a Pecha Kucha style, which is sure to be really entertaining, which will be followed by a discussion between all of the different experimenters. We'll also be running, as you can tell, this is a huge program. We'll also be running 3 different book clubs. We'll be running one in combination with Kill Your Darlings, which is going to be looking at Ellen Van Dieven's fantastic Heat and Light. We'll be running 2 in combination with Boss Fight Books, which will be looking at classic video games, Chrono Trigger, and Super Mario Bros. 2. There are a huge number of different events that I haven't even been able to mention. I'm really just skimming the surface of this huge program. There are events involving visual artists. There are events involving those who are using Facebook and Twitter as publishing platforms. There are events looking at the idea of what constitutes feminist blogging and how to create these different communities around the written word online. There's going to be an insane performance event which will apparently involve a writer getting tattooed live on stage, events involving interviews inside video games. It's a crazy program. I'd encourage everyone to scroll through the site, check it out, RSVP to your favorite events. Almost all of the events are free, with the exception of a few of the workshop style events, which are the events in which you'll be having that intimate contact with these different writers. All of the events will be live streaming on the Digital Writers Festival website. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone from February 11 to 22 at digitalwritersfestival.com. Before I go, I'd really love to thank all of the partners that make the Digital Writers Festival possible. And I'll just bring up my list of sponsors. So this year, we're really pleased to be working with the Emerging Writers Festival, which is the organisation that's responsible for putting this whole thing on, working with the City of Melbourne, the Melbourne City of Literature, and UNESCO Cities of Literature from around the world, Creative Victoria, Monash University, General Assembly, Possible, the Stella Prize, and Free Play. If you have any questions, I'll be on Twitter answering questions and chatting with you about the program. You can follow us at Digital Writers, and you can use the hashtag DWF15 to appear on the little Twitter ticker below each event, and that's going to be a way that you'll be able to communicate with the artists during the event. I'm really excited about this program, and I really look forward to hanging out with all these artists, audience members, and communicating with all of you via Twitter. Thanks.